Welcome everybody to Austin, Texas. I have the great Sandy Munro here with me, my birthday brother.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for, and thanks to our friend here at Cybertruck. These guys lent you the car.
Absolutely. Cybertruck ATX. They are a Cybertruck rental company out here in Austin, Texas. They let us borrow their Cybertruck for the day so we can have Sandy Munro talk about the Cybertruck while we have a Cybertruck. How about that? So thank you very much to the guys there. Yeah. And then do you want to tell us a little bit about what Munro and Associates does, Sandy?
Yeah. Okay. So Munro and Associates actually has three kind of distinct, I guess, businesses. One is new product development. For new product development, we work on everything from, like right now, we have things like lawnmowers, all kinds of different types of cars, anything you could imagine, medical devices. We've got a whole bunch of these things, including tiny houses. So we've got a whole bunch of things going on, and that's kind of like where the bread and butter is.
Yeah.
Then we also do the benchmarking, which is kind of like what everybody kind of knows us for.
Yeah.
So we'll take a vehicle like this, tear it all down, cost it, tell you what all the materials are, the science that's in back of it, and many of the OEMs, like the bigger car companies, will buy those. And then the last one is a pure costing. People bring us products; they want to know what the accurate costs are, and we'll do that. And like I said, we can do everything from a tiny house to an aircraft or whatever. It doesn't really matter. We've got all kinds of algorithms to make those kinds of things happen.
Awesome. Yeah. And one of my favorite things about Munro and Associates is all the teardowns you guys have done with the EVs. And we know if you follow their channel closely, you have your Cybertruck finally.
I do.
Finally. So you went to the unveil, you've had your reservation for a long time. You have one personal, you have one for Munro and Associates as well that you're starting to tear down. Now that you've had it for a little bit of time, let us know your sort of where your head is at as far as how the truck, what kind of job Tesla has done with the truck as far as quality, what it looks like, what it feels like, and then we'll start getting into the specifics with your teardown and whatnot. So where's your gut at? Where's your head at as far as what Tesla has done with this truck?
Okay, so first off, let's talk about the quality aspect or whatever. So I just did a fit and finish assessment, and I have 2 of these things now.
Yeah.
And basically, I'm looking at this as very low production rates. And that's usually where you have bad quality. As you're ramping up, people don't quite know what they're supposed to be doing and whatnot. However, on this one, I was just looking at the same thing. So I don't have my little gap gauge, but my fingers are pretty accurate. And this is exactly the same. So if you look at the little crease on my finger, you only see one crease.
Yeah.
And that's because each one of these gaps is exactly the same. When you look at this gap here, where you got this joint, this is really hard to do. So you got flat stock and you're trying to line it up with an edge. And I can get my thumbnail in there on this side and that side. Both of them are the same. Now on mine, on the 2 we have, there is no gap. How they did that is way beyond me. I have no idea. But I can tell you that with all these flat surfaces, another good thing.
Yeah.
If you look down here, okay, and I haven't done this yet, but it's just the same. Have a look right along that crease. I'll get out of the way so Eric can. Have a look at right along this crease. It's dead accurate all the way to the tail. This is really hard to do.
Yeah.
And they've done a bang up job.
So can you explain why it's difficult to do?
Because it's flat.
Because it's flat.
It's flat. Yeah. It's hard to keep flat things flat. Curvies, I mean, there's 2 kinds of images you can have. These are called style lines. I prefer beauty lines if I'm designing it. And the reason I want beauty lines is because if they don't match up, your eye can't, it's not perceptible.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare under normal circumstances, but they've done a bang up job. Nice. I can tell you for sure that when I saw the truck for the first time, I was one of those guys, that's it. I want that. I love that look.
Yeah.
Okay. But my big concern was going to be, how are they going to keep those style lines?
Yeah.
And they've done a brilliant job.
That's
brilliant job. Now this one's been wrapped. Mine hasn't. So it's hard to say what they did or how they did it.
Yeah.
Or maybe why that's why there might be a thumbnail gap over there.
Yeah.
But I will tell you for sure that this looks brilliant. I actually kind of like the
wrap on this, right?
Yeah. I have no idea how they did it. But
shout out to Bespoke, the guys that partnered with Cybertruck ATX to put the wrap on the truck. Make sure you check them out. Yeah. The one thing that and I don't know if you would agree with this statement. So I've been driving Tesla since 2016, and I've had exposure to all the early runs from Tesla, Model 3, Model X, Model S, Model Y. To me, Cybertruck, and I'm trying to be objective here, it seems like it's the best job Tesla has done to release a product, the first batch of it with good quality, whereas the other ones had a little bit of a give and take in areas.
Okay, so
especially Model 3.
Yeah. Okay, so when I got the first truck, it was I think it was 2016 or something like 2017.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, oh man alive. Gaps, you could see them from Mars. It was like horrible. The seats, my God. So at the end of the day, they've progressed from maybe one of the, I think I said something about, it was like a 1980s Kia or something like that.
Yeah.
To the point now where I'll bet you dollars to donuts, nobody is going to come out with a product that's going to look like this with this kind of accuracy.
Yeah.
This is going to be really, really tough for anybody to jump into and follow along.
Yeah.
Lots of people have started making sketches. I can do that all day long. I can be on a CAD machine and I can give you all kinds of things that can't be possible.
Right.
But with these guys, here it is. It's right now.
Yeah. Well, another thing we were talking about too, quality-wise, the tonneau cover. I wanted to hit that a little bit if we can.
Sure.
You were explaining before we went live that the style of manufacture, or the style of tonneau that this is unique to Tesla, especially if you compare it to a Rivian. They both offer the same sort of usability. But what's special about this tonneau cover that makes it unique?
Yeah. Okay. So these are called timbre doors.
Yeah.
And so we use them a lot in the aircraft world.
Yeah.
And the thing about them is you have to keep them kind of close to what you'd see on a roll top desk. That's where they used to be really popular then.
Yeah.
This is just like that. This thing is rugged. I mean, you can get 350 pounds on top of here. I didn't do it, but I seen on the one that we're tearing it down.
Yeah.
People have gone up there and jumped up and down to see if it really is 350 pounds.
Yeah.
But to make that work, you have to have a very short distance.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like about 40 millimeters or something like that, maybe less. Anyhow, at the end of the day, this is the way to go. The Rivian's timbre door is like about 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is you can get cocked. And the play in there is you have to make it loose enough so that it'll actually fold when this goes down into a trough. Anyways, you have to make it loose enough so that it'll actually move and fall down. And that's why, that's one of the reasons why getting a powered timbre door on your Rivian, they're really not, that's actually not a timbre. It's a timbre door, but they call it a tonneau cover. Anyhow, at the end of the day, it's kind of tough.
Okay.
That's, and simply because it's just too wide.
Yeah.
There's a thing called an R over D ratio or what. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, that ratio has to be precise, and it has to be. You can't have a lot of slop in it. So this is the way to go. Got it. Yeah.
Do you think there is, one of the things that I've heard is that there's concerns about long-term durability because it's a mechanical piece and, it's maybe something that's not very common in cars. Do you have any opinions on that? I'm curious to get your take as far as, do you think this is going to be something that's going to keep running for the next few years, or
it'll
do you have any concerns?
It'll run as long as you'll have the car.
Yeah.
The big problem with this is that's really expensive.
It's expensive.
That's why you don't see them. These are expensive.
Yeah.
It's much cheaper to buy a piece of canvas and put some snaps on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this, again, you get back to the styling and you get back to the engineering, and
Yeah.
Holy mackerel! This would not be the easiest thing on the planet to build.
Yeah.
And certainly from a design standpoint or an engineering standpoint, yeah, you're going to have your days filled with excitement trying to make sure that everything works on the factory floor. Tuning this in, you got to have a good crew to turn in this kind of accuracy.
Yeah.
And like I say, people are saying, why don't they ramp up faster? Well, maybe they want to make sure that everything is tuned in properly. And the other thing is, one of the reasons that I know that this is going to be easier for Tesla than it is anybody else, they have one supplier for the sheet metal. And they test that thing every time they get, a new bunch of reels. They come in a big round. Anyways, every time they get a new set of reels, before they start uncoiling them, they make a sample. They make sure that it's exactly the same material as what they want. That way, when it comes to the uncoilers, and through the, they've got straighteners and they've got some fancy little thing that we've got to try and figure out more on, but they cold roll it to make it so that it's austenitic. That's kind of impressive. So we're not really sure how they do that. Maybe it's some kind of bainite process. I'm not sure, but usually that takes heat. But at the end of the day, they make sure that they've got exactly the same material every time. And then you don't wind up like what the normal guys do, where every time there's a new purchasing agent, he finds a new cheap steel manufacturer. And the next thing you know, you can't build any damn thing. You're stuck with dancing inside the dies and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, for the long term of this vehicle, it's key for them, I think, to have that one supplier, or at the minimum, maybe a maximum 2 suppliers that are on the same page to try and help them reach that sort of 250,000 unit plan that they have long term. What are some things? So, how far along are you guys on your teardown on this truck so far?
Well, to be quite frank, I don't know, because I wasn't in the office for a couple of days. My guess is they've probably got it up on the hoist. They probably got the wheels off. Maybe they've taken out some of the suspension. Suspension is very unique on this. Especially in the front. They probably got that going, and from what I can gather, they want to take and look at a lot of the electronics and whatnot. So we've got another one of our companies that we are partners with, 3IS, and they're helping us out with some of that stuff. So it's not just Munro taking this thing to pieces. It's there's 3 or 4 different companies that are helping us out.
Gotcha. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So now that you've had the truck for a few days, I think a couple of weeks now, right? Since you picked up the first.
No, the fifth was when we picked up the first one, and Tuesday was when I picked up the second one.
Gotcha.
So the second one, I got a chance to drive it to Grand Rapids. I think that's about 80 miles away. So I got some.
We almost got run off the road a few times.
Yeah, 3 times. 3 times a buck. People, they're driving and going like this, and they're coming closer and closer, and I'm going, geez. So finally, I was on the soft shoulder. I knew that there'd be some looky-loos and whatnot. I didn't realize that it was going to be that exciting. What stuck
out from that off-road experience with the truck? Any insight you can give us? Anything?
It was nothing, because this has got this is steer by wire. So you don't get a lot of things that would make the steering wheel jerk, because there's communication, but it's electric and electronic. And it's not, it doesn't have a big shaft, an I shaft to call it, an intermediate shaft between the steering wheel and the steering mechanism in the front. So you go off road, you get feedback. I mean, you can tell that you're going into big ruts and whatnot. But it isn't tearing the steering wheel out of your hand. That kind of thing. So a lot of steer by wire is a good idea.
Would you say that it's like for somebody who has never done off-roading, would you say the steer-by-wire system would make it easier to do off-roading, or is it just a feel thing? Is it a preference thing?
Okay, so I haven't been off-road with mine yet. Next week, I'm going to go to Gardner Rocha, one of the guys at work. We're going to go to he got 30 acres of property. and it sounds like it's rugged. It used to be a farm. It was abandoned, whatever. Anyways, I'm going to get off there and really do a downtown job on it.
Cool.
Something similar to what I did with the Rivian.
Yeah.
And the Rivian beats everything up till now. I mean, there's no Wrangler,
Have a great
Rubicon,
truck, those
whatever.
guys. Yeah.
They do. They have
really
a fabulous truck.
Yeah.
And I think it's right now, anyway, the best off-road vehicle, period.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when I get this off.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Should we look at the interior a little bit? While
Sure.
we're here?
Why not? Yeah.
So we'll look at the, we'll start with the back, I guess. We're closer. So any commentary as far as the quality of materials that Tesla's used now that you've had yours for a little bit, you've been able to sort of look around, anything stick out that you want to comment on?
Everything here, again, is picture perfect. All these gaps are perfect. Everything is brilliantly done. I have no idea who the supply community is for this, but I can tell you for sure, this is really, really well done. One of the other things that, while we're looking at this is welded to that. And if you want to have a look at craftsmanship, have a look at what you're seeing right where my fingernail is. That's a laser weld. So this door is done entirely different than everybody else would use a hemming situation. So you take this and you wrap it over the top of the door inner, we call it, and then it's usually adhesively held in place.
Yeah.
This one, if there's adhesive, it's probably right there. See this bump right here?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be where it is, but this is laser welded, and I cannot find even a pinhole. These things are really, this is brilliant. And you've got to be very, very careful because that has to go fast enough so that it doesn't change the material characteristics and I can't have bleed through.
Okay.
Okay, normally if you weld, you get a blue mark on the outside.
Yeah.
Not going to be very good for you, but I can't find, I can see the little blue mark here. Okay, that's trace over. So you weld here and that little bit of trace, but there's nothing on the other side. That's dead nuts. Okay, that's the best you're going to get.
Are there any advantages to using this method versus a traditional method, or is it okay?
Oh my God! If I use this,
yeah,
I mean it would be a fabulous, better as far as construction and whatnot is concerned. But laser welding is expensive compared to or crunch. One shot basically gives you the hem. Yeah. But this is how you keep things straight and parallel. This is how you. This is how, if it was up to me, and price was no limit, this would be my first choice.
Cool. Okay. So now that what's interesting is, so we looked at the tonneau cover. We know this is going to be this is one of the more pricier things on the truck. The process that they're taking here obviously is going to be pricier than the average sort of typical truck. And of course, I think a lot of that is because the choice of material that they had with the stainless steel, obviously, and you know they made a choice to have a tonneau cover as well. It's going to add those things to it. What I'm wondering about is, you know, one of the things that Tesla has talked about was removing the paint shop from the process was going to allow them to bring the cost down. But it almost feels like, would you agree with the statement that Tesla, the money they save with the paint shop, they've decided to sort of build costs somewhere else, or do you think they'll be able to achieve sort of their initial targets as far as getting the cost down from a manufacturing perspective?
Okay,
how are you thinking about that?
For painting a car, it can go anywhere from at the very, very low end, about $300, all the way up to, if you want to go crazy, $1,000. Yeah. To paint the car. Okay, so this type of material, we haven't got it costed out yet, but stainless steel that's austenitic, dollars per pound. Okay, when you go to ordinary 1020L, which is kind of like what everybody uses. Yeah. 1020 is it just barely steel, and the L stands for lead. You put lead in it so that when you stamp it, it'll stretch and things like that. Yeah. That's pennies per pound. Okay. So you got dollars per pound or pennies per pound. How that works out, I won't know until we actually have done the estimation. But my guess is the stainless steel is still going to be more expensive than mild steel. But I'm not. That's just a guess, and I'm not a guesser. I really rather have. I like hard numbers. I'm an engineer. I want numbers. Right. Not an analyst, and I'm not a salesman or whatever. Yeah. So,
The rear seats this looks like it's a new sort of approach by Tesla as well. They have sort of the bucket seat style-ish kind of in the back here. You know, they have the
but that's just for this. So you can't make this work unless you have that kind of a seat.
Right.
So at the end of the day, having it so that it can fold up and you can put more stuff in here, that's kind of like what you're looking at here.
Yeah.
And let me put that back down.
There you go. Goes back down.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously they got the screen back there too.
That's cool. Now, it works seemingly it works really well for everybody except Eric. Who could
Eric
not
was having
find,
a tough time finding the charging. Look at how low. Eric was not very happy. We kept telling him it's back there. He's like, no, it's not. We're like, yeah, it is.
He just wouldn't go in and crawl around. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see what he's talking about when you're sitting there. It's a little bit, you know, you're sitting down. It's
well, it has. There's more to it than that. It has something to do with this part, right?
You got to look for it. So definitely, you're blind, and I could totally see why Eric was having an issue. But
well, I told him it was right under, but he just wouldn't. He never. It's like everybody else in Munro. Nobody listens to me.
The other thing I noticed too. So like when you shut the doors, this is by far one of the more solid feeling doors that I felt on a truck or a car, really. And I think a lot of it is because of the weight. But I think another part too is I think maybe there's the way this glass,
way it closes.
The way it closes, right?
Yeah.
How much engineering goes into how a door closes? Is there a lot of attention paid? Talk to me a little bit about that.
And that's kind of like why the glass goes down a little bit, because if I don't do that, then I'm trying to suck against the vacuum that'll be inside. And having it down like that, when I close the door and it goes up, if this is really, really well sealed, I mean, there's virtually no noise inside. This is as quiet as a tomb. This is what maybe the most quiet vehicle, certainly the most quiet truck I've ever been in. And a lot of that has to do with, here, let's do the glass thing here. See that glass? Okay, so you see there's one kind of glass here and then another one there. And in between there's a chunk of clear plastic. Not everybody does that in the rear seat. And this is extra heavy duty. So the noise abatement here, because of that glass, is huge. So you've got something that seals really well. These are good seals. These are bulb seals, and these are really nice. They seem
thicker and bigger than what I see on my Model Y. They seem a little bit more heavy duty.
Yeah, this is kind of like what you'd find in a big truck. Like the Lightning has stuff like this. This is kind of the Primo kind of sealing.
Is that an NVH choice or is it like an off? Okay.
So NVH is one, but water is something not your friend ever. So
and NVH, for those that are not familiar, noise vibration harshness. And of course, so if this is something that's meant to be taken off road, you'll want good seal from the,
especially if you're going in water. So when you have something like this, I'm expecting I'm going to be able to be in the water to about that depth. Okay, I don't want to go to the bed line.
Suspension actually while you do that.
Yeah, bring it all the way up.
All the way up. Okay. Okay, I'm going extract. I think extract is the highest.
Okay, good. Well, it's moving up. So you know what's good about this is, first off, look at the clearance between the bottom of the rockers and the center line of the wheel. That's the first thing that we should notice. And it looks to me fairly level. I think should be the same as the one I've got. And it is. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, look at this knuckle here. Okay, so one of the things that we noticed was this is a single layer upper control arm. And this knuckle is gigantor. It is huge. So when you get into a situation like when you're off-roading and whatnot, most of the stuff that you're going to need to absorb is going to be in the lower A arm, that thing down there, it looks kind of like an A. This knuckle is attached to that and attached to this. All the real excitement, if you like, is down below. This one here just keeps things in tension. So you really don't need to have normally you'd have this with a welded cap and everything.
Yeah.
But because this thing has got that long arm, the long knuckle arm, it virtually doesn't see much. So when we first saw it, oh my God, and then we started thinking about it and we said, hey, you know what? That's just good engineering.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So how common is this in other trucks? Is this a unique choice because of this?
The big truck, again, I go back to the Lightning.
Yeah.
It has something as long as that, but
Yeah.
up here, it's double. It's
double right here.
2 castings welded together.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 2 stampings welded together.
Okay, got it. And then as far as the pump, it's like this the air pump.
That's your air suspension
the air
system.
suspension.
Yeah.
Anything additional you've learned? Anything you've felt? Because one of the things that
we haven't taken it apart that far yet, or at least not for me. So I haven't seen what's going on in there, but this looks very similar to what you'd find on the Ram.
Yeah.
The Ram brought out air suspension system basically for pickup trucks first.
Yeah.
And man, we thought it was brilliant. It just left everybody in the dust.
Yeah.
So when that came out, and then GM brought the new Silverado out about the same time.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just it was sad. It really was.
Yeah.
Because the Silverado came out kind of bouncy and whatnot, and the Ram was just phenomenally good.
Yeah, because I think one of the biggest things. So my wife and I took this for a little bit of a ride this morning, and the one thing that it's hard to explain. You know, I'm not a truck guy, but I heard and I saw videos about how big of a difference an air suspension makes, especially in a car like this, a pickup truck, and it really seems like it added a new type of, I don't know, like ride
dimension is the word you're searching for.
Yeah,
it's a different dimension.
It's unique to this size of vehicle, and like I heard the Ram system is excellent as well, but it's very interesting to actually experience it hands on, especially with the steer-by-wire system. It feels like, and I was talking to you in the car a little bit before this too. It just feels like you have this giant beast tank thing that actually is super responsive and it rides real nice. You know, it's just a very interesting mix of characteristics.
It's because of a lot of different attributes that are in this vehicle. So the air suspension is great. Steer-by-wire is even better. This thing is also, because it's quickly responsive and whatnot, that has a lot to do with the Ethernet loop that's in this as well. Believe it or not, some people, myself maybe, when we're so for instance, driving this compared to the Lightning or the Rivian or the Ram or whatever, this is like a vastly different kind of ride.
It is, yeah.
This is huge. This thing is a big truck. I belong to the Detroit Athletic Club. And when I was trying to get into the parking lot, holy mackerel, I folded the mirrors in. I didn't know I was going to make it. But you know what made it worthwhile or made it happen? No, that rear wheel steering.
Right there.
This turns this monster into I don't want to say a sports car, but it definitely makes a difference. It definitely makes a huge difference when you're trying to get into tight parking and things like that. This is
getting
brilliant.
up here felt very easy. You know, it wasn't super tight getting around. You know, this was a very nicely laid out parking deck.
And quite frankly, when I let some of the other guys drive this thing, especially the guys that are used to driving a big giant pickup truck, they said, "Hey, I don't know what's going on here." And this is not even. I'm told that this is going to get even more aggressive. So right now we haven't tested it out, but that looks like it's tipped, and that looks like maybe 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah.
And that might be all that we're getting out of it right now. But I've heard from a lot of people, I don't know if it's true or not, but this may go to about maybe 9 to 11 degrees, depending on who I've talked to.
Yeah.
If that's the case, oh man, that would be like a sports car.
That would make a big difference.
Oh, huge,
you don't even have to change the angle on the front. Just change the angle on the back.
No, it's a ratio between what I'm doing here and what I'm doing there.
Right.
So you have this thing tipped over quite a ways. So that gave me, or gave you, the ability to tip this rear wheel a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're going slow, that'll happen. When you're going fast, you don't want that.
You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what we're doing here.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this: as far as what's one thing that has surprised you so far in having the Cybertruck that you initially didn't think about, or it was something that it kind of came out of nowhere? Is there something that took you by surprise since you've taken delivery? Positive or negative?
Well, the negative surprise was it doesn't have ADAS, I didn't know that, because when I got into it initially, I want to drive the car. I don't want the car to drive me. So I didn't really do anything until I was on this kind of boring trip to drive up to Grand Rapids in Michigan. And I'm pushing buttons and whatnot. And apparently I was told it doesn't have ADAS or autopilot, but I wasn't paying attention. I was mostly rubbing the side of it. But the big surprise is what happens when you pull in to charge. So I have the only right now, because Dirty Tesla is out
of Michigan.
He's out on a road trip.
Shout out Dirty Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but these guys, this one in Michigan, nobody knows what the hell it is. Nobody. Right. And so I drove in to get a charge, and I went in and I thought, well, what's doing that? I'm going to go and grab something to eat. So I went to Chick-fil-A, and I went in, got my lunch, ate it, came back out, and oh my God, somebody must have brought a school bus full of kids. I walked out, I looked at it, and the whole car is completely surrounded by all these kids. And I got little handprints like everywhere up to there. But anyways, at the end of the day, that was a big surprise for me. Anyway, that was a big deal. Yeah. And then,
go ahead. Go.
Well, anyways, what did you? I can come back.
I was going to be. So what I wanted to mention, what you were talking about, surprises, something that took you by surprise. That not having ADAS was one. The other thing you were also mentioning, I want to talk about the headlights for a second too. But the other thing you mentioned too was the camera in the back, like when we were reversing, doesn't have a beep thing. As well.
Yeah,
that was another
missing
thing
as well. But I think that's part of the
autopilot suite. Probably.
Oh, by the way, the other thing: don't turn on the security camera. Because, or the computer, the security system.
It's going to be on 24/7.
It sucks the juice out of it. So I parked in at the, I was at a Hilton, and I parked at the, in the special parking garage, right?
Yeah.
Well, somebody let everybody on the planet know that there's a Cybertruck in there. All night, that thing was on.
Oh,
so I started off with 121 miles. I get up the next morning and it says, you should charge like right now. God. So I had 27 miles left.
No way.
And now I find out that there's another thing. There's that. And there's also, if you've got, Find Me or whatever, what do they call that? Hailing. What's
like the GPS thing where it knows where your car
it knows where you are, and then it'll come and pick you up.
Oh, the summon.
Summon. Yeah. Summon. If that's on, it also sucks up juice.
Okay. That's good to know.
It's a good idea.
I feel like I don't know why it would suck so much
I don't know either, because it's thinking about it continuously, I guess. Tesla Joy mentioned it.
Yeah.
Because some guy said, hey, I don't understand it. I turned off this, I turned off that, and I'm thinking, good idea.
Yeah.
But then she said that it also has something to do with summon.
Yeah.
Now I haven't had a chance to check that out on mine because I just read it while we were at the airport waiting for the airplane. So I think that there's a lot of information on X that you can probably suck up from here.
Right.
And I will be looking at it. I'm learning as well. If somebody figured it out.
I think what's interesting though is like it has such a, you think about a truck of this size. By the way, the battery estimator on the Cybertruck is really freaking good. So when I came down to pick it up from the airport, it's at 78%. I left with 92. Yeah. I got there with 78. It was like dead exact. And I went through traffic. There was kind of a little bit of wind as well. So I'm wondering if they have any improvements from that perspective too.
I don't know about that, but I can tell you that driving this in rush hour traffic or whatever, where you stop and go a lot.
Yeah.
I started off with 111 miles, okay, on the odometer or on the gauge that tells me how much battery's left. I looked, and I-75 was a nightmare. I wasn't going to go that way, so I took the other route. Initially I thought it was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's stop and go. So I go, and then because there's street lights, there was an accident, all kinds of stuff. So I drove from the office and I got into about where all of this stuff ends on Joslin Road. And I looked down, I'm at 115. How in the hell did I? And I think because when I was going, jogging back and forth, I was putting more back into the battery than I was taking out to drive forward because I didn't have anything on. It was a nice day. I had the windows rolled up. So
were you going downhill or something?
No. Well, that might be true too.
Yeah.
But each one of these is a generator, right?
Yeah.
And they can put energy back.
Yeah.
I think I was using so little energy to go forward because everything was stop and go.
Yeah.
That when I'd push it a little bit and then it was, so I'd go a little bit and,
man.
I'm telling you what, I was really shocked. Anyway, when I got home, it was at 110.
Okay, wow.
So
it barely used anything.
It barely used anything.
Very efficient. Very, very efficient.
Huge. I don't know how that works. So that sounds like a perpetual motion machine kind of a thing. But at the end of the day, I don't know how that happened, but I do know that
I wonder too is maybe their estimator is like taking into account current conditions as well. And it's like, hey, if you're going to, and maybe
it was a nice day out. So I would have said that if
somebody was pushing you didn't even know.
If it was cold out, really cold out. And then the battery warmed up and said, oh, I got better than that. That could happen. But I mean, it was 60 degrees out. Yeah. It was a nice day. The battery don't give a damn about 60. They like 72 degrees, 21 Celsius. Anyway, that's what they really like the best. But at 60 degrees, they're happy as a clam. Yeah. So it didn't have anything to do with whether it was hot or cold or whatever. Yeah. It just happened. Wow. Now, how that happened, I don't know. But I'm sure that somebody will be telling you. Yeah. And then you can relay it
in the comment section.
And I'm sure it's going to be
I'll send somebody you a text.
Somebody in grandma's basement on the sofa that he used to sleep on. But anyways, I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued about how that could have happened.
That is strange. Yeah. I have theories, but we'll let the people in the comment section come up with them. Real quick, I want to talk about the headlights because I think this is, I don't know, you tell me if this is a weird decision by Tesla, but it feels like in places where there's going to be snowfall, those headlights to me feel like are going to get blocked really, really quickly. Do you think that's going to be an issue?
I already been in a snowstorm.
Yeah, and it's no issue? Okay. Interesting. Okay.
No, the snow and the rain, I've been in both and I never had any problems.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. Okay. So
why don't we talk about that big ass windshield wiper?
What do you mean? What do you mean? This thing?
Huge.
This normal looking thing that's on every other car?
So here's the thing. Okay, we were talking about GM and we got called in when GM was having some serious problems in the late 80s and early 90s, mostly the early 90s. And one of the things that I wanted to do on one of their vehicles, a Cadillac, was I wanted to put in a single wiper because Mercedes had one, and I thought, hey, this is brilliant. Let's put it in. We costed it out. It didn't save any money, but you only had one wiper, and they turned it down. They turned it down because they said, well, it don't work for snow load. And I said, well, wait a minute, it's on a Mercedes. I'm pretty sure it'll work. Well, we haven't tested it, so we don't want to try it. But this, nobody has ever thought of doing that. This thing is a monster. And when I turn this on, like if I have people that are standing
Should I turn it on and see what it looks like?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We're having fun here, y'all.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. All right.
Now that's a wiper. You know what? Oh, wow. Look at that. He's trying to, it looks like you'd hit it out of the park with one of those.
I can feel the car swaying. I can feel the car swaying.
Probably got a motor the size of, I haven't seen underneath here. Yeah. Because, can you pop the frunk here?
The frunk, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, can I want to show something. I saw this on a video too, Eric. If you want to come here real quick, I want to show you something. This right here, the way they let the, I saw it on somebody's video. Look, it's the size of it's the Cybertruck.
It's the Cybertruck.
It's a silhouette. How cool is that?
And you know what? That type of artistry is what I die for.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I mean, that
such
is
a unique little feature.
Yeah. So anyway, if we go over here, that big giant arm here is going to have something underneath this that's going to probably amaze and delight me. Because really and truly, when you make this go, it looks like an old train thing, you know, the wheels used to go. That's kind of like how this all works in here.
Yeah.
I can hardly wait. I'm not allowed to do anything in advance of the guys, but I can hardly wait until we get this off so I can see how that wiper mechanism works.
What do you expect to see?
What do I expect to see?
Yeah.
Magic.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know exactly how to make that work. It's plenty heavy duty. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how that mechanism works.
Yeah. Another thing I heard about the front trunk is that some folks, I mean, I will say that I personally expected something a little bit bigger with at least deeper. With this form factor. Do you think this is going to be a deal breaker for folks, especially when you have like the Rivian and the F-150 Lightning with really big?
I'm telling you what, the F-150. Okay, so
their front is insane.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
So I don't need any hate mail. I'm just telling the truth. As far as I'm concerned, this truck was made for me. A sportsman. Occasionally, I'll use that back end to take home a 2x4 or something. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is going to be my truck to go hunting with. Yeah. This is what I want. Yeah. Is this a work truck? Not to me. Yeah. Okay. If you want a work truck, you want the F-150 Lightning. That thing, I can take concrete bags, throw them in there. I've got lights that illuminate that. If I had the Lightning in here and it was night, I could turn that thing on.
You can have a concert out here.
Everything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's got way more doodads. Like we can talk about and we should, about the wiring in the back.
Yeah, let's do it.
And that's great. But at the end of the day, this I was expecting to see different. Yeah. Now let's just see why that this is happening the way it is. Oh, come on. Oh man, this one's really on. Okay. Well, anyways, I can't get it off, and I don't want to break anything. So here's the deal.
Don't worry, Chase.
Mine come off really quick and easy. But as soon as you take that cover off, boom, you've got an electronic control panel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there. There's no way that they could have got any deeper. Mm-hmm. And I would never suggest to anyone that you drop down below where this is right now.
Right.
I just wouldn't do it. So it is what it is. It's not as big as storage as the
Lightning or the
Rivian. But you know what? I don't care. This
I think for like if it's a
this would take my shotguns. So there you go. I'll build a little rack and I can put the shotguns.
I think what's interesting about the pickup truck form factor is that I've seen so many statistics out there that for people that buy pickup trucks, a majority of them don't really utilize the pickup truckness of the truck. It's more like a people carrier, occasional Home Depot run. I feel like this kind of helps.
This is more for the average guy that can afford it and wants something different and is going to be a sportsman.
But it's nowhere near as big as the F-150 Lightning. I mean, the F-150 Lightning front is something else. It really is.
That is huge.
Yeah. Anything over here that sticks out to you before we check out the wiring in the truck?
Well, you see this right here?
Yeah.
These kind of welds or whatever.
On this
these
side
are spot welds.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see that the spot welds in there and they've got a little black line around it. That's about as perfect as you can get. Okay, and that's going to be the hood. There's a structure inside the hood inner, and that's what you're looking at there. And so when you look at those, the first thing I do is I want to see if there's any squirt or squirm that's on these, and there's nothing. Okay, so when Tesla first brought out their cars, oh my God. Didn't anybody ever clean these tips? Doesn't anybody know what a weld controller is? Now, Tesla could give classes to BMW on how a weld should look. And that's the way it should look.
That's cool. Yeah, it's definitely, with this vehicle, and of course, somebody that I've been driving exclusively Tesla since 2016, so I'm biased, but it does feel like this product feels like the most mature product they've put to market. It feels very mature.
You're wrong.
Okay.
You have not driven the new Highlander.
That's mature.
Holy crap. That thing is fabulous. I love that truck, that car. I mean, the Model 3 is a good car. We had it for a long time and whatnot. Guess what? Sue, Cheryl, my CFO, And me and I don't know who, but there were 4 of us that drove it around. Jordan.
Yeah.
We drove it around for a little while, and I said, and I looked at Cheryl. So Cheryl doesn't like to sip. She's very tight on money.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, this is really nice. And she said, when did you buy the Model 3? I don't know, must be 5 years ago. She looked at it and she said, that is what we need, and that's going to go.
Wow.
That's how much of a difference there was.
Wow.
I mean it sincerely. The thing is articulate. It's so accurate. I can't believe it. I mean it sincerely. It's the best sedan out there.
Wow.
They really did a bang up job.
Yeah.
Really big time.
And I think I want to talk to you about that too, because I wonder how many. It feels to me like Tesla's starting to go from this mode of being a quote unquote luxury automaker that's offering really great performance, but they were missing some quality pieces. And now as they're maturing, it seems like they're really honing in into the quality aspect. And we can see it with the Cybertruck. We can see it with the Model 3 Highland. And I wonder how much of that is in preparation of their compact car to make sure that all those things are like honed in so that when they go to millions of people a year, you don't have a bunch of people complaining about their stuff. I don't know if, if there's anything there.
I've been asked for a lot of people have asked me to speculate on the car.
Yeah.
To hit $25,000 and make money at it, that's pretty tough, especially if it's an electric vehicle. So I'm not 100% sure I know everything about how it's going to be done.
Yeah.
But I know one thing for sure. The level of maturity as far as engineering and manufacturing on this vehicle tells me whatever they go to, they're going to have to build it right the first time. They are not going to have a big, giant amount of cars in a parking lot that are looking for some modification or some part missing or something. They're going to have to be dead accurate all the time. It's going to have to be perfect, every one. And when you have that kind of what we used to call Toyota quality, when you have that, you can kick everybody's tail, and you can sell inexpensive vehicles and still make money at it. And I believe that it will. Actually, I heard something today or saw something today that I couldn't believe, and I'm not sure where I read it, but I think it was either the Wall Street Journal or the New York. I think it was the New York Times, and they put Tesla in the same bracket as Boeing. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And that's why I really have a problem with the regular press. I mean, why don't they put people who maybe have an engineering degree, or maybe they talked to an engineer once? That would be a good idea. To kind of put this kind of stuff together is just wrong. It's weird. What kind of
It's not an objective take. It's just
you can't get objective if you're not advertising on the TV station, or you're not buying ads. Well, then they don't want you.
Oh, I don't think it closed. Okay, let me see. Is the button here? Uh-oh. I think we might have to turn
me.
it. Yeah, this is like, talking about the frunk. This is like, I wish they was just a little bit deeper.
Well, it's either that or they would have had to put the electronics someplace else.
Let's talk about the wiring in the back. And then if we have time, maybe we'll take some, we have people ask questions on X. Maybe we can answer those for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, so we wanted to talk about the wiring. So let's go ahead and do that. What sticks out to you?
So here's the control box here. And in essence, what you've got is, this is 220. Okay, so that would be for your welder or something. And then you've got two 110s up here. And this is, for me, I don't need any more than that. I mean, I can bring my little microwave and pop it in here, and I can cook dinner. So this is good. I like the tie downs. There's quite a number of them.
The D-rings over here.
Yeah. And then up there you've got more of them, and they can be slid back and forth. So again, this is great for what I'm looking for. Would I classify this as the work truck of my dreams? No. I don't. So having the rear seats comfortable, a godsend. I love that. but that dishing back out, it makes it so I can't get as much stuff in as I'd want. So again, I'm sure there will be people using this as a pickup truck, and that's fine. But to me, here's what I like. This is way up high, but when I can
lower it. I'm gonna lower
no, you don't have to. Yeah,
okay,
it's fine.
Okay.
When my wife allows me to get quads and maybe even a off-road bike, motorcycle.
Sue. Come on, Sue.
Yeah. Anyway, we got something else too. That's this thing here. Oh, he's got it already filled up with stuff. Yep. But anyways, this is great. You know, we were talking, there's not enough room in the front. This is good enough for Sue and I for groceries.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to. Anyhow, when that happens, I will get myself my own ramps, and I will make it so they fit on here. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put them or how I'm going to make them work, but I know that if I have a quad, in no time. Yeah. And that's kind of, you don't see a work truck that's any good with quads or bikes. You can get them in, but they just, it doesn't feel right. Yeah. This, I've already done the measuring. This is perfect.
Okay.
Somebody was thinking, okay, so this is perfect. And then I've got my D-rings down below here, so I can take the front wheels and lock them into place. I got the D-rings there. I got this. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And this is like made for that. This is perfect for that.
Yeah.
So
one of the things I heard, tell me if you agree about this sentiment. So I was reading some of my comments, which sometimes I wish I didn't do, but you know how it goes. Yeah. But somebody was mentioning that for the workplace or for gig guys and these guys that run small businesses out of their trucks, especially on workplaces, the one advantage they have with the stainless steel is that they don't really have to worry about getting their trucks damaged. They can just take it from job to job. And, you know, because they're also worried about looks a little bit is what I was being told. You know, they want to have the cool truck and the new, especially the boss, you know, at the place. Do you think this has a place in that environment, or do you see this more,
if I was in the work environment in construction, and my brother and I used to do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, guess what? You can't, I don't care whether it's made of anything, you know, you're going to have somebody who's carrying a couple of cement blocks and it's going to bang and scratch. This isn't impervious to everything.
Right.
Certainly for day-to-day activities, no problem at all. And you know what? We got to try something.
Sure.
Okay, see that? Unlatch that. See, go like this. This is something I did not see before. And I want to find out if I can get that off.
Maybe, can you lift it up a little bit more, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Yep, you can. Okay, there you go. There you go. So let's see how far down this goes. Okay, so it's just got a little bit of a tip.
And it's got a little bit of spring, like a spring-loaded action maybe in there or something?
No, you're bending the material here. Don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm wondering if I can take the whole tailgate off somehow. And I see a little blue thing here. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I didn't notice that before, but I'm pretty happy about that too. Make sure that's in all the way.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Lower part. And then there should be a little clip or something. Yep, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, I do like it. And for me, this is our off-road vehicle for me. So I just got to test it out in the dirt.
Awesome.
So anyway, what are the questions that
so let's pull up some questions here. So I put out a question out there on X. I asked everybody, I'm going to be talking to the legendary Sandy Munro. And if anybody had any questions, drop them in the replies below. And we got a few of them, so we'll do some of them. We won't keep you here for 1,000 years, Sandy.
Oh, wait a minute. If we're going to do that, then we can sit down.
Just go sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good idea. Here, let me, you got it?
What for?
Wow.
I'm old, but not that
you got
old.
There
better
than I did. All right, so here we go. So question number, did you see that Starship? They made it go around the Earth and they brought it back? Did you see it?
No, I didn't see anything. We were on the airplane.
You were on the airplane.
We looked out he was right by the window. You should have saw it. You should have saw it.
What kinds of things do you expect to find when you tear down the new Model 3 and the Cybertruck, and what kinds of things would amaze you?
Okay, so I want to know.
That's from Mike Sterner, by the way. I want to make sure I give people a shout out. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
And anyway, so the things that are most important to me, I want to know more about the castings. Obviously, that's a big deal. We can, if you go to the other the interviews I had with the 5 VPs of the different areas.
Yeah.
So you can see that I was pretty excited about that. Next, it would be the steer-by-wire. I want to know more about that. Third is the rear steering. So I'm very big fan of the Ethernet loop because I'm really excited about knowing how that works. But I'm not a communications expert, and that's mostly software. So for me, it'll all be probably over my head.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the material science and whatnot that we're going to find when we get into this. The front suspension to me is a big deal. The wiper is a big deal. There's a whole bunch of things here that I'm going to be very interested in, and in the circuit boards. And when we started, that's where I changed my mind on Tesla. So when we got rid of the body and we started looking at the circuit boards and whatnot, oh man, this was as exotic as anything I've ever seen. Yeah. And they were brilliant. So I'm looking to see if there's any kind of a step change between what we've seen in the past with Tesla and what they might have now.
Cool. No, that's great. Yeah. So it's laundry list.
Yeah, I got a long, I got a
long list. Can I have one of your Cybertrucks? Asks Eric.
No. Next.
Next question. We were talking about Boeing a little bit. But maybe we can skip that as well. Let's see.
What's that got to do?
Boeing quality issues. That's all they ask. But I don't know. If we want to keep the Cybertruck specific.
That's what happens when you have a board made up of MBAs and movie stars.
Yeah.
It's not we don't have them as in fact, we got fired from Boeing because they didn't like the way we were running our company.
Yeah. Let's see. Cybertruck innovation. This is from Tate. Cybertruck innovation with the Ethernet ring, 48-volt architecture, and steer-by-wire. Profound changes. What benefits will they provide in the next-gen low-cost vehicle? Do you expect that kind of technology to go into the next generation? Okay.
Absolutely. Because quite frankly, when you move to 48 volts, I'm going to save money on wiring. And when you have 12 volts, you need cables that big, right?
Yeah.
When you move to 48 volts, you need cables about this big. They get smaller. It's Ohm's law, and I don't want to get into that shit. But at the end of the day, the higher the voltage, the lower the amperage, and you get whatever power you need. And at the end of the day, for me, moving to 48 volts is going to reduce the wiring sizes. Getting rid of wires is even better, and that's what you get with the Ethernet ring. There's going to be one power line, and a communication will come off the Ethernet ring. So that gets rid of wires, and that's good. From a steering system, I don't have the intermediate shaft. I don't have the problems associated with how I have to connect everything together, on and on and on. That's going to make it cheaper. So everything that happened there, 48 volts Ethernet ring, and the steer-by-wire is going to be less money.
Yeah. Okay. This one's a very interesting question from Lee. If you could get your hands on any vehicle from around the world, which one would he love to do a teardown on, and why? Any vehicle.
Well, the Sherpa. Yeah.
Sherpa. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to get one of those. I'd like to tear that down. But right now, this is the one that I want to tear down because this is the most advanced technologically. This is the one that's going to keep my attention span. I get kind of bored fast, so this is probably the most interesting for me.
Cool. Okay. What is your favorite moment in your career thus far, and what's your favorite moment with your family outside of work?
Probably when my son was born. As far as I can tell you that's a big event. Marrying my wife Susan, I'd be about in the same kind of category. Work-wise, boy, I've had a lot of really big things happen in my life. There's too many first places. I will tell you, one of the things that was was the most surprising, maybe, was when my guys came up and said, "Hey, Sandy, that Tesla, it looks like they're going to make about 30% gross profit." What? Give me those pages. Okay, so that was a big deal, and that happened. That was a really big deal. And seeing as we're talking about Teslas, that would be it.
Yeah.
But I've had, winning car races and shit. There's been, and when I got promoted at Ford, when I wasn't supposed to be a promotable, and getting promoted a bunch of times and winding up in finance staff, that was, so there's a bunch of things, but
Yeah.
Well,
what else?
You're 75 years old and you're 35 years old at Munro Associates.
That's right. Now that's,
How do you
that's
feel
a
about
big,
that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Being 75, it's a number. My grandfather and my dad never made it to 75. So that's kind of a big deal. And then this year it's 35 years that
Wow.
I've had, we've had Munro out open for business, and never went bankrupt.
That's awesome.
Chrysler 2 or 3 times, General Motors, a whole bunch of others, but we
Yeah.
didn't
Wow.
go bankrupt.
Amazing.
And quite frankly, that was divine intervention.
Yeah.
That was God blessing us for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow.
What did you say, Eric?
Fisker.
Soon to be Fisker.
Have you heard about that?
Okay, so Fisker. Okay, so 3 or 4 years ago, I was approached by one of the biggest investors on the planet, or at least in North America. And they came along and said, "Hey, we're thinking about putting some money into Fisker." And I said, "Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Fisker is German for you're going to get, yeah, you're going to get screwed." Okay, that's what it is. Don't do it. They did it anyway.
Yeah.
So when Zen Matosha is a friend of mine, he's an investor. Everybody on the planet knows him. Anyway, when he sent me the news about Fisker and fell off the table, I said, "Who called this?" And he said, "You did." So anyway, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. There are certain things that a lot of analysts will go and do, well, we look back into their, history, and we looked at this and we looked at that. Did anybody look at the fact that Fisker's never had a success ever?
Right.
I mean, which analyst would put this kind of crap down? And then when I say something, I'm right. Okay. So I'm almost never, I won't say anything unless I know I'm right.
Yeah.
Period. Because I've been called out too many times when I thought I was right and I wasn't.
Right.
So, I don't want to talk about
Yeah, it's all good.
What else we got here?
Yeah. This one's interesting. So if you had $100,000, which model would you buy? The Model S Plaid, the Cybertruck, or the Model 3 Refresh Performance?
I would probably buy the Model 3. And the reason for that is because I only got $100,000, and this thing will cost you $125,000. So that cancels this one right away. I think the Model S is a fine car, but I hate the back seat, and everybody at Tesla knows that. I like the Model 3 a lot. I think it's the best sedan on the planet right now, and the back seat seems to be a lot more comfortable. So, yeah, and then I'd have some jingle in my pocket. I mean, I don't have to spend half. I could get 2 of them for that price. So you could buy one for your wife or your girlfriend, or if it's the other way around, your husband or your boyfriend. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. A couple more?
Sure.
Yeah.
And until he says that's it, my arm is tired. We can do anything you want.
Let's see. How difficult? And I've heard this one quite a few times as well, which is interesting. This is from Aaron. I want to make sure I give the other person a shout out here. This was a Florida Tesla fan.
Okay.
Let's do. Where was it? Okay, from Aaron. How difficult are bodywork repairs going to be for Cybertruck? I've heard this a lot of times because of the material they're using. It's going to be an issue. What are your thoughts about bodywork repairs for Cybertruck?
Well, I think that the only repairs that you're going to be doing is buffing out scratches. And that's simple. Scotch-Brite, or actually Scotch-Brite, and another thing that we use on stainless steel quite a bit is is Bon Ami, or sorry, Canadian, Bon Ami. Those are the things that I would use on stainless steel. And if you get something really deep, then anybody in a shop will be able to buff that out. If it's a real crash, I think you'd have to really be, you'd have to be in something where you're probably going to wreck the whole damn car if you're going to have to do repairs. This thing is pretty much indestructible.
Yeah. So it's a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened? I see somebody sent me a picture, and it was somebody ran into the Beverly Hills sign.
Oh yeah.
Did anybody do any in-depth stuff on that?
I haven't seen anything in depth.
Wow.
No. Well, the rumor was that a valet ran it into the sign, but it was actually that was a rumor. It was actually a person who just ended up hitting a sign.
Didn't know what
somehow.
he was doing.
I have no idea.
Unless it's, I only know of one. I only know of one. What do you call it? Beverly Hills sign, and you have to be drunk, stupid, or
both
high. Well, maybe you could be high too. It's hard to say.
Or all three.
But anyways, or all three.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were waving at friends.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't know how they did it. I just wondered what kind of damage there might be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. All right, this one's from Jorg. How's your arm feeling? Nice. We got a thumbs up. Eric,
Okay.
Eric, can we give a shout out to Eric?
Yay,
My God.
Eric.
You're amazing.
Yep.
What is your honest opinion about Tesla removing the stalks and rain sensors to save a few dollars instead of looking after the customer? So it's framed an interesting way, the question, but do you have an issue with them removing the stalks?
Hell no.
Okay.
I always thought stocks were stupid. I tried to get pretty much every OEM that we've ever worked for, get rid of them. Oh no, they're cheap. No, they're not. And by putting everything on the steering wheel, right, left, here's my wipers, but I never have to take my hands off. I never do anything.
I got used to a lot quicker than I expected. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, truly.
It's easy.
It's easy.
So, and the other thing that the rain sensors. Now, I like rain sensors, but they don't always work. And that's one of the problems that I've got with the Rivian. They don't always work. So if I can turn on my wipers with my finger, or I don't even do that. Usually I just go down and press the button and wipers on, wipers off. And it does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So
it's just people have to get used to the new way, I guess, more than anything.
Well, I'm sure that they'll figure it out sooner or later.
Yeah. All right, let's do maybe one or two more and then we'll call it here. How fast do you expect Cybertruck to ramp now that you've maybe have a little bit more exposure to it? Do you think 250,000 by next year is realistic?
Give them a year. I mean, if they have a year from now, I think that could work.
Okay.
Yeah, that could probably work because they have a really short cycle. For the most part, they've only got 43-second cycle. I don't know what the pain point would be or the pinch point would be, but my guess is they've always hit their numbers in the past, so it might take them a bit, but a year and running at 250,000 a year. I don't mean that they're going to crank. The run rate would be like, again, around 40 seconds.
Cool. All right, and let's do maybe one more.
Actually, have you got any women that put in? I'd like to know what women want to have to say.
Well, there was a question about your wife, actually. Should we maybe ask that one?
Oh, sure. That'd be fun.
Where was it? Okay.
Why did she ever marry me? Is that what it is?
Ask how Mrs. Munro deals with your energetic madness. This is from Fee.
She takes drugs. No. Actually, Sue and I dated for 13 years because you think I'm energetic now.
Oh,
should have seen me when I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
So, no, Sue and I I am blessed with the perfect wife. I mean it sincerely. We do have disagreements. She gets nervous about a lot of things that I do and say.
Her interview with RJ was excellent.
I know.
Yeah, it really was.
I've heard so much about kick the old guy off and put Sue in.
Oh my God.
And that, it's, and there you go, Eric.
He gave a thumbs
Everybody.
up. Eric gave a thumbs up for everybody.
Well,
that
everybody
didn't
wants
see
to
that.
know when I retire, so we can put Sue in place. Sue's actually the president of the company now. I'm still a CEO, but everybody kind of wanted me out of the presidential role because as a day-to-day kind of a job, I'm a micromanager. Is that the word? Yeah. So
Engineer.
micro. Yeah. Well.
Engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, but Sue's a lot easier to get along with, although she has her moments as well, as many of the people in the company can attest to. But for the most part, she's less aggressive than I am.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
but like I say, I am blessed. I got the best wife.
You
ever.
and I both, man. We're both
Yeah.
blessed with amazing women in
Yeah.
our lives. So,
And that's, it doesn't matter whether you're looking at the Quran or the Bible or the Torah.
yeah.
Yeah, everywhere you look around, it says, "Find me the good woman." Is the big thing for
Yeah.
me. Yep.
Yeah. Before we say goodbye, I want to give one last shout out to Cybertruck ATX, who let us use their truck for the day. We've had an amazing time talking about the truck, your plans with the teardown,
Yeah.
what Munro and Associates is up to, and any parting words for the crowd?
I just like to thank Tesla for all of the help that they've given us since we bought the vehicles. Just getting the vehicles, and I know that I don't know who's in charge, probably Elon, but I know that this wasn't supposed to happen. 2 or 3 trucks showing up in Michigan. I know it wasn't on the original scheme. They were blessed. We're blessed that they were kind to us. So my big thank you is to the folks at Tesla. And so number 1, thanks for the trucks. Number 2, a different kind of thanks for the trucks. This is a joy to work on. So I'm really, really excited about the future.
Yeah.
I love the vehicles. And I'm looking forward to exposing all of the really good benefits that this thing has to offer to the buying public.
On behalf of the buying public and everybody who watches our videos, I can't freaking wait. Yep. My birthday brother,
Yeah.
thank you so much, man, for taking the time. Truly an honor and a pleasure. Just thank you so much for being so kind with your time. I had such a good time. And thank you, Eric, for putting your arm at stake here, holding that thing for an hour and a half, it seems like. And thank you so much. Munro and Associates, you can find them on YouTube, on X. Sandy Munro, you can find Teardown Titan on X as well.
Yeah.
You can find Eric as well on X. What's your handle?
Eric Platsky.
There you go. Go follow him.
Very inventive.
We can.
Yay, Eric. And that's why he's the director.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Sandy.
Hey,
really
thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.